Hello and welcome to the first part of our online Scratch lessons. Today we're just going to have a look at the online version of Scratch because there's some differences from the one that we use in school, which is version 1.4. We're going to create a very simple game, but hopefully that will just allow us to have a look at a few things about the interface, so how we move sprites around, how we change the colour of the stage, where some of our controls are. Now, first thing that we want to do is search for Scratch in our internet browser, and then should be the first result that comes up, so let's get onto there. You can join the site and sign up for an account, but today we're just going to go straight into start creating. We're not worried about joining it just yet. So we'll bring it up. There's a few differences in the way that some things are. Tutorial here we're not going to need, so we're just going to close that one down for now. And over here we've got our stage, we've got the sprite tray. Some of the things that in 1.4 are up here have now kind of been moved down to this area, so it just keeps them all in the same place. And our code blocks and categories are all over on the left hand side. So first thing that I want to do is we're going to create a background. So we'll go down to this button here and we'll go to the paintbrush, and it brings up a background here. Now I'm going to draw a rectangle. Doesn't really matter what fill color that you decide to use, but I don't want an outline on the out of this, so I'm just going to drop that down to 0 until the outline goes, and then I'm just going to draw a fairly thin line here. Let's go to the pointer tool, and I'm just going to move it so it's slightly off the side of the screen, and there's a gap here. And then we want some that are the same, so I'm just going to copy that one and paste it. Let's move that up to about there. And now let's paste one more and down to here, and it's just a case of just moving them about so that we've got roughly about the same amount of space between each one. And then I'm going to go back to our code blocks here. So now we're going to have a look at our cat sprite here. So a bit too big to fit between any of those spaces, so we're going to change the size. I'm just going to take a guess, let's say 50%, and see if it fits there. Yep, that looks to be okay. And I'm going to put the cat to the starting point of our maze that we've got here. Just move it up just a little bit. Now that gives us a set of x, y coordinates. 0, 0 is in the middle, so we've gone x minus 209 and up y to 146, and that's where we're going to move into. So over on our code blocks, we're not already on there, click on motion, and we've got a go to block which has already got those same numbers for our cat in there. Now we're going to go to events. We're going to say when the green flag is clicked, we want it to go to those coordinates there. Now before we start the cat moving, we're just going to leave a little bit of a delay there, and it gives us a chance to press the start button and move our mouse somewhere else on the screen, because that's what we'll be using as a controller later on. So after I go to that, we're going to put a wait 1 second, and we're going to try and get the cat moving now. Because we obviously want it moving all the way through the game, we're going to click on control, we're going to find our forever loop, and we're going to just drop that there. So if he's moving, we need to go to motion, and we've got this one. So inside the loop, we're going to drop and move 10 steps. I'm going to slow that down a little bit to 5 steps. And then down here we want if on edge bounce, and we're just going to drop that one in there. So let's just press the green flag and run the program. So yeah, it starts going across there, and then it's coming back, unfortunately, upside down. So we'll stop that, and we want this one just above the sprite tray. It says direction. So you click on the button, and there's some controls down here. So we want the middle one, which just says left and right, and let's give that another try. So hopefully this time when he turns, he won't go upside down. Yep, that's working okay. So we'll leave that one there just for the time being. One other thing that we do want to do is make sure that our cat always points to the right there each time. So we're going to take the pointing direction. There it is, it's already on the right, so we can then just put that outside the forever loop. We don't want to keep it inside there, otherwise it'll always point that way. Let's just test that again, make sure that nothing's been changed. Yep, that's working. So now we're going to add a little bit of control there, that we're going to get the cat to follow our mouse pointer along the screen. So we're going to start off again by going to events, and we're going to start a new program. So when the green flag is clicked, we're going to want it to follow us forever. So let's click on the control and put in our forever loop there again. And then we're going to go to motion. We've got our pointing direction one that we've just used, but now we want the point towards mouse pointer. So we're going to pop that inside there. Let's try it. So we run again. It'll take a second, but then it should just start following our mouse pointer around. And then if we stop and test that again, that second that we added before is just to give us a little bit of time then to move our mouse away once we've got started. So you see from here that, yeah, it's following the mouse, but it's just kind of gliding along. It's a little bit static at the moment. So now we're going to use some animation. We go to costumes. We can see that the sprite already has 2 costumes, and we can use that for animation. So let's go back to code, and we'll put another events when the green flag is clicked, that forever. And now I want to change the way it looks, its position. So we'll go up to looks there, and it's the costume. So we're just going to put a next costume in there. Now we're probably going to get a flicker with this because it's going to go around that loop fairly quickly. Yeah, so we don't really want it to look as though it's running around like that. So let's go to control. We're going to take our wait 1 second and put it inside there, and I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. So click on that one, and let's say 0.3 seconds, and just click somewhere else here. You can see, yeah, it looks as though he's moving. I'll start the game again. He'll follow my mouse pointer around, but it's not going all over. Next thing that we need to look at is the cat is just completely ignoring our walls because we haven't set up a program yet to tell it what to do when it gets to those areas. So again, back to events when the green flag is clicked, and now we're going to look at this area for sensing. So on the sensing, we're going to say then we want to see if it's touching a colour. We're going to click that colour. We're going to get our dropper tool down here, and then we're going to go right in the middle. Look, it magnifies it for us for a colour of our walls, and we click on one of those. And now it's saying if it's touching the colour, that sort of purplish colour. So now we need something to a condition for that. So we're going to have a look at control, and we're going to say if then. So if it's touching the colour, then. But if we put that there, it's just going to check once at the start of the program, and it's never going to check again. So we also then need a forever loop, and we drop our if statement there. So that gives us a forever if touching colour purple, then. And what we're going to do, if it touches the colour purple, we're going to make it go back to the beginning of the maze again. So we've got our set of coordinates here. So what I'm going to do there, I'm going to right click on that one, duplicate it, move it down to here, so it's giving me the entire block, and then I'm just going to throw the rest of it away back in there and put this one inside here. Yeah. So let's run that, get part way across, and then let's get to crashing. So once we know that everything is working, we just need to make sure we can actually get through the maze, because it's a little bit annoying to be in part of testing your game and then you can't maybe get around the corner or something like that. So, if you're not getting there, the best thing to do is stop that, go on to the size and just make the cat sprite a little bit smaller, and then just keep doing that until you're certain that you can get through the maze. And just let it follow those curves around as you move here, so we know we can get to the end. Can always make it a little bit bigger afterwards to make the game more difficult. So final thing that we're going to do on this is there's no point going through the maze if there's nothing at the end of it. So we're going to go to our sprite tray and click on this one here. You hover over, choose a sprite, and we'll go for a magnifying glass which tells us to choose a sprite. We've got some different categories here, so I'm going to go for food, and there's a carton of milk there. Let's take that one. So bring that down to the bottom. It's too big to fit in our maze. So again, just like we did before, let's take a guess. Say 60% and pop that in position. So can't see any of our programs because all of our programs were for the cat sprite before. So click on that, come back again. So now we need a program very similar to this for when it collides with the milk carton. So let's go then to events. When the green flag is clicked, we're going to control, and we want a forever with an if then to make a forever if then. So we're going to find our condition here then in the sensing. So I'm going to say if it's touching, not the mouse pointer, but the milk, and then drop that one in there. So if we do get to there, that it's only a simple game. That's going to be the end of our game. So first of all, we want to actually do something with that. So let's click on looks, and we've got this say here at the top. Let's just change that to 1 second, double click in there and type winner, and then after that, that is the end of the game there. So let's go to control, and then down here we've got a stop all, and we want that just underneath our say winner command. So let's give it a try. So far that's moving through the maze. Just following our mouse pointer, and then we should be able to get to the bottom. And we've got winner, and that's it, our game has stopped. If you wanted to continue with this, you could make your maze a little bit more complicated. You could make it harder by changing the number of steps that the cat moves, and you could put him back to full size again on any of those. The last thing that I want to do once we know that we've got our game and it's working is it'd be a good idea to save it. So at this point I've made a change to the video because some people were having problems saving if they weren't on a laptop or a PC. So when you've got to this stage of the game, although it won't appear on my screen here, what you need to do is go up to the top right hand corner here and click on this button, Join Scratch. Okay, so you need to create a username for yourself. As it says there, don't use your real name. Create a password. I recommend that you make a note of that and keep it somewhere safe, and then just work your way through each of these. One of the questions it will ask you for an email address. Use your school email address rather than a personal one. What that will allow you to do then is when you're back and you've got through all of these, you can then just go to save now, and it will save it onto the Scratch site or their cloud, and it means that you don't have to worry too much about downloading things on any of those. Also be useful then because that's what we will do in part 2 of this series.